So his name was Red, right? And I'm already thinking, for obvious reasons, his name is Red. But his name was Red, and his name was Red. I haven't seen him in like years. Like I'm using him in past tense or something. But it's been a long ass time since I've seen Red or spoke to him or befriended. Last time I befriended him, our living situation back then was a little awkward, but we liked each other, you know. And it wasn't that kind of liking. Not that, you know, it's bad liking, two guys liking each other, but we liked each other. And I liked him a lot because I've always been fond of gingers, you know. And this guy was a ginger, and he was really funny looking dude. He had this really funny looking voice. He was like, "What?" That's the way he sounded like. You know, he had this rough voice. He had this saying, look it. Like it was something. You know, he had something to like. He had something to tell you that was really hilarious, or something to show you. And the thing with him is that he could actually explain what his mentality is thinking. You know, what his brain thought is conjuring up. You know, in his skull. Almost like rhyming in your mind, making rhymes. But this guy was like, look it, I got 3 kinds of coffee. Trying to remember something he said, right? And that's difficult for me. Try to remember something and repeat it. It's kind of like on the spot. It's almost like being placed on the spot, and you're like choking up, you know. But he was like, I got 3 kinds of coffee. I could open up my own coffee shop. You know, without the southern slang, but that was his voice. And like I haven't seen him in years, you know. I mean, this was like way back, like in 2002, you know, 3, you know. And I grew fond of him for about 4 or 6 months, and I only knew him as Red, which was his nickname. And when we first met, he was like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "My name is Sam." And I was like, "What's your name?" He was like, "Red," and I was like, "Duh." Yeah. And he was like, "I'll tell you my real." I was like, "You don't gotta tell me your real name." I was, you know, Paris, Samuel, and Red were like destined to be together, you know. And I don't know where he is now, but we were both family guys, and at the time we met, we were separated from our families, and he was like a brother to me, you know. I'm not too sure where he lives at now, but I knew we lived near each other, you know, and we never found each other. Not that we both searched for each other, but if he has, I think about him like all the fucking time, like all the time, you know. And you know, I really miss that guy, honestly. And right now, he reminds me of my childhood neighbor. I grew up in the city Carson, and I'm not getting off of Red, but I grew up in the city Carson, where Carson was known for their farmhouses and their swamps. And of course, this is like back in like 1983, 1980 something, and the last farmhouse on our block. Before the property got sold, a ginger lived there, a redhead, with his grandparents, and his grandparents passed away, and he was the last person on this farmhouse, and unfortunately he was still underage. So I actually went to junior high with him. It was the time that that farmhouse ended up being sold. Well, that farmhouse was sold, you know, like before I went to junior high, but we ended up going to junior high together. And I mean, this farmhouse was like so awesome looking. It was a huge property, and he ends up getting evicted. Like all the other neighbors, like wrote a petition and got him out of the neighborhood, you know, got him kicked out, you know. But what actually happened was the property was so valuable, you know, to home builders, because that's exactly what they did. They built like about 30, 40 houses on that farmhouse lot. So this guy was getting harassed back then, you know. Like, I know for a fact he was getting harassed, getting the cops called on him, getting people to cite him, getting the city to cite him, just to get him out of the neighborhood, you know, because he was like he was the owner, but he was like, you know, not even 18 yet, but he had like I forgot what it was called, but I'm sure I've heard about it before. We have like someone legally controlling your assets until you're of age. But a guardian, and that is what happened to him. I harassed by neighbors, and the neighbors were you know, ganging up on him basically, until the cops one day came. I remember the last day that he ever lived there, because the last day that he ever lived there, the cops escorted him out by gunpoint, and they had a helicopter, dogs, they had animal control there. I mean, this thing was like a huge scene, man. I swear to you, I kid you not. That was the last day he lived there at his grandparents' home, which is like a farmhouse property. Was the last day you live at a house, and police are called on you. You get a helicopter, you get dog police, and you get animal control to come to your house. It was like the worst last day ever. And I almost competed with that, by the way, but that is on a repeated basis. But that